What's going on, CJ? What's up, Andrew? How are y'all doing today? Oh, this wants to make some noise as I go live. All right, perfect. So today we are in 5 minutes, it looks like, as long as they do not have any issues, any problems with their stream. We should be seeing some, hopefully, new footage of whatever the hell this Cataclysm thing is. The delayed. It's been delayed. It was supposed to come in May. Obviously, May is about to wrap up, and Anthem is in. I would actually go out to say like in its worst shape yet. Hopefully, these could be words that they come back to just bite me. Hopefully, we've seen the lowest point in the game's history, and as it's been, it's been trashed right now. The Reddit, you should avoid, just like if you want to have somewhat of a good day, because it could be easily just it can depress you, man. It is just a crazy place to be in right now. And so what the devs are doing here is they've gone silent pretty much what feels like 2 months. And as an engineer, I get it. They have a lot of work to do, and they had to change up their roadmap. And all of that correlates into an update 1.2, which I haven't installed. They haven't, like in the update notes, there was no reason to go and play the game. So I haven't had a chance to sync up with my friends that play. And I'm like, well, when we do, I'll update it then, because it's not necessarily that critical. And they said 1.2 made a lot of background changes. And then tomorrow we're going to show off what we've been working on, because they said they don't want to rush out the Cataclysm. The Cataclysm isn't something that is interesting to me because I don't know what it is. The Cataclysm hopefully means a good new starting point for the game, and I think the Cataclysm could be an opportunity for them to fix a lot of the problems they've got with the game. Now, at this time, I'm going to go and return to chat here. James H says, ? Andrew says he's doing fine. How about you? Cole, work to game is the best. Oh, thank you. The exact opposite of what Anthem is. Yeah, I like to look at it. Yeah, hopefully work to game as a channel is better. Andrew Todd says, I swear, been following work to game since they started playing 14. Since you started playing 14 about a month ago. Andrew, I'm glad you're enjoying 14. It is clearly in a better position and going into a very strong position here with Shadowbringers at the end of June. Cole says, welcome to 14, and yeah, Work to Game is flat out one of the best channels in 14 content. So humble and intelligent and good. Well, I'm going to say thank you so much for that compliment, Cole. Hopefully we continue to hit those notes. Colton says, so glad I found this channel recently. Well, I'm glad you found this too, dude. Hopefully what we're about to witness is maybe a breath of fresh air, something to inspire hope in the community. I don't honestly, this in my mind, I'm like, I don't know if we're about to continue to, like, the train has been like wrecked. It is just destroyed. They have the hazmat team has come in and they're trying to pick up the pieces, and in 2 minutes we're gonna have to see if they're successful one way or another. Black Star says, one of the major problems is the loot system, and it sucks, dude. Absolutely. I've been wanting a lot of investment in this game. Like, why do I log in? People were like, oh, like, people tend to focus on the loot system and then focusing on the drop rates. I honestly look at it and I go, there's no reason to get legendary. Like, there's no reason to run their hardest difficulty in this game. And because there's no reason to do that, like, why do I even care about the drop rates? And so it actually is not a stress point for me, but it's also something like, why am I not logged in? XP does nothing. There's no payoff. I describe the loot system as if we all went to work and we all did our job, we did a great job, we got all our projects rocking and rolling. And then what ends up happening is that at the end of the day, we all roll to see who gets paid, and that's just ridiculous. I'm fine with an RNG progression if it's also married with some form of static progression system, meaning you can sit here and get a random drop that makes you even more powerful. Yay, that's awesome. That's exciting. It's random. But let's say you don't. Well, you played the level, you got experience, and you made progress towards your next step, or maybe you made it to your next step. And if you have those two systems in place, it's very comfortable. That's actually Anthem, like level 1 to level 30, feels pretty daggum decent because you are making progress as you level up. And you're also getting drops. Problem is once you hit level cap and you're not getting drops, like there's like what? Like you're leveling up your alliance, who no one's playing now, so no one's feeding the alliance coin bonus. So the system has collapsed. I mean, like matchmaking, all of that. Like the foundation has been destroyed. 15 seconds, guys. Let's see here. Andrew Todd says, thank you. You have learned so much from this channel. It came from WoW. All right. That's awesome, dude. Glad we could help. Taylor says, even if Bioware could make Anthem a good game, do you think EA will pull the plug on it before too long? I don't think so. I think that it's a part of their strategy when it comes to EA Access and things like that. So I don't think we're going to see a massive... They could easily pull out a lot of investment and say, nope, we're not going to spend that much money on it. I don't think we'd see them pull the plug until at least a year from now. But it's EA, so they do whatever they do. I think they need a couple wins.
Hey everyone, welcome to another Anthem live stream. My name is Jesse Anderson, part of the community team here at Bioware.
I'm going to be talking.
I'm Ben Irving, the lead producer for Anthem.
You better get
wow.
They
It's
got a
been
lot
a
of
while.
work.
It's good to be back.
It is. So
Many things have happened since the last stream.
Yep, indeed. So we've got.
If you want the links below, if you don't want to watch it with my voice and commentary, just check out the links in the description of this video.
On the screen,
Anyway,
some of the things we're going to be talking about today. There we go. And Ben, take it away.
Yeah, so this stream is mainly about the Cataclysm. So one of the things that we've been focused on trying to change is we want to talk about things when they're closer to being done, so that we can kind of talk about something and then ideally have the community play it. And so one of the things we'll get to a bit later is how we want to get some feedback for the Cataclysm and how we want to do that on our public test server that Jesse will talk about at the end.
Yep.
That's something we want to do
3 new missions.
pretty quickly. I'm kind of jumping ahead, but I think for the purpose of this, it makes sense to say, we want to get people into public test server next week. So the things we're showing now, we want you all to play next week so that we can show it to you. You can think about it, you can play it, you can give some feedback,
That's good.
And then we can make it better. So that's kind of the purpose of this, is to show you a bunch of stuff and then ask you all to, if you're interested, to give us feedback. And then we can make it better, and then we can launch it when it's ready.
Yeah.
Anthem probably killed your PS4, but my kids killed my PS4 because they would always power it down.
But for now, what is the Cataclysm? So we've talked about it before. The Cataclysm is intended to be aspirational content. So we wanted to create something that is accessible to all players, but also something that for the people who play the most, who want to min-max, who want to push themselves, who want to compete against others.
Stats pain, maybe?
We have some content that gives kind of that method to
if you're going to min-max, you got to have some way of actually knowing what the hell you're doing.
We're creating it as an 8-week event. So the first 2 weeks will be some pre-events. So we actually patched them in our patch this week. So they're not turned on yet, but they'll turn on 2 weeks before the Cataclysm starts.
Yeah, that was what we had said. Like, this sets things up. That's what I was doing.
Yeah, and so part of kind of the narrative setup, it's hard to explain the narrative without spoiling things. So a very short version is, after the things that happen in the crypt path, the Dominion forces are in a bit of a disarray, and they're starting to feel really desperate. And so they're scared of this power that's rising to the north. And as part of that desperation,
I don't know what that means.
They are feeling connected to a power. And a new faction emerges from the Dominion. They're led by someone called Vara, and I won't explain her story because you'll learn all about it.
Vara.
But in this act of desperation, the Dominion trigger a cataclysm. And so the freelancer's job is to understand, how did this happen? And what can we do to silence the cataclysm?
So 3 missions.
So that's kind of the narrative setup. So the 2 weeks of pre-events will explain a little bit of that. Then we have a 6-week cataclysm event. So what's in the cataclysm specifically? So first of all, we have some new story missions. So there are 3 new missions with some really good kind of what we call PCAP, but kind of high quality cinematic scenes that we think are coming along really well. There's a brand new area called the Cataclysm, and that's what we're going to play through a little bit today.
Okay, I wonder what they mean by new area.
Playthroughs we're probably going to give you a tour of it. Is that a better? We'll give you a tour of the area without kind of spoiling the secrets and mysteries that lie within.
Right.
But we'll give you a brief tour of the area of the Cataclysm.
Inversions and
there are some new systems that come with this. I talked about things like competing and being replayable and playing it a lot. So with that, we have some new systems: scoring, inversions, and leaderboards.
14
so we can
Anthem
talk about
crossover
what those
event
things mean
confirmed.
as we kind of go through.
Viera is actually Viora.
And then, the final thing is, okay, well, you have this cool stuff to do and play. Like, why do I do it? What's the reward?
Yeah.
So, we have a lot of cool new vanity coming with the pre-events. And then in the 6 weeks when you play the actual Cataclysm, we have some brand new rewards,
so what
as well
as
an increase in power. And so we might just talk about that at the end after we explain how it works. We can get into, what are the new things that you have and how do I get them and how does it work, and we'll kind of cover that at the end. So that's kind of the high level of like, what is this Cataclysm and how does it work? And then I think what we'll do is you'll probably...
And the stream is buffering. Oh, please don't tell me it's down. So please don't tell me somebody cut the cord and
play a bit. Okay, and as we see things, we can kind of just explain in a little bit more detail about how it works.
Yeah. It's like, oh, that was fun, and it's done.
Just if we see a couple questions from the chat, maybe even.
Oh yeah, I have Twitch chat again here, right here, and I'm on Jesse's account, which means I can say whatever I want. And not get in trouble. Yeah, although now I've given myself up.
Loot! So they know it's not actually.
Loot!
Hi, team.
Hi, team.
Exclamation point.
All right. So, are we ready?
So look for questions. The only thing just to mention before we start is part of the Cataclysm is there's a lot of kind of secrets and mysteries to solve, and even completing some of the objectives you have to figure out. And so we don't really want to spoil that to people by showing you how to do it. So this will be more of like, we'll fly to the spot, we'll kind of talk about it, and then we'll fly on. And so that if those of you that want to play on the public test server, which I forgot to mention is PC only, for this first go round.
Good. I have it on a PC, so
you guys can go on there and play it and work it out kind of for the first time. Or if you want to wait till it goes live, you can
why am I playing this game?
We'll show you some stuff, but the point is
they're coming
everything so that you all can go out there and explore for yourself and
turn them down a little bit slightly just because it's like somebody did not tune their mics right. They're peaking.
A version that will probably be the one maybe next week. Changes, I'm not sure. So it is still working. It's work in progress. So you may see some things that are
dev progress. Yeah, we know all about that. For 14.
That's a great point.
Hopefully nothing,
Dev in progress.
But
well, the intent though really is that this is early.
Yeah.
Like in our development process, we're not finished, and so there are things that are unfinished. And
so when, if
they might crash, and a bunch of things might not work.
Is this even going to hit in June?
Get that out.
Test server
before we finish
feedback. Are we talking July for these changes?
Get feedback and make changes to.
Also, like.
For sure. All right, ready to hop in here?
Like Anthem is a challenge of patience.
Boring.
I'm the worst.
The Cataclysm loot. Okay, new weapons, new masterwork gear, melee equipable slot. That is cool.
Preview.
Hopefully. Masterwork. Oh, what the freak?
They're like Cataclysm loot.
Masterwork and legendary support gear. All new items have higher power level. Existing items currently in the Masterwork and legendary versions or something.
So if I turn the camera angle here, this is this beautiful beach.
It is a beautiful beach.
Admiring the birds flying off here in the distance.
So before you fly out,
right? I'm not leaving yet.
Okay.
Complete events and defeat the
Cataclysm in kind of like this safe bubble, and you'll see why that's important in a second. So a couple things to call out here.
Sorry.
The first one is on the right. You see a score UI, which is a new thing.
That's good.
You see the score multiplier, which is 1x right now.
Let's make a game out of this game.
One of the ideas for the competition of the Cataclysm is you can beat the Cataclysm reasonably easily, but you get a low score. The challenge is to.
It's a beautiful game now.
Tricks and routes and different things to do.
It is gorgeous.
So as we play, we can talk through what some of them are, but a lot of them we're going to leave as a mystery.
That's on Bioware. Their rep is completely on, earned.
We do have on protection here, so we don't die, right? Like we can.
Did you turn it on? I didn't turn it on.
I don't know if I did.
Can you
show us you dying
off the screen for a second?
We just want to make. We have some secret stuff.
Okay, let's go.
Do real quick.
Cheat codes. Sorry.
Cheat codes. I handed the controller to Ben.
I think that visually and how the game plays is fun, and I have said that, and I still believe it. But there's no reason to play the game.
We wanted to just do one player for the sake of explaining, but this is intended for 4 players, and so it would be hard to do solo.
And one thing before we get going, it is like Ben said, you can play through everything on a lower difficulty if you want to. You can see everything, but to get that higher multiplier, that's where it comes in. So basically, we don't want people to be scared of it being too hard.
Yeah, that's right. And one thing also, we're
R2
trying
Red
to
Dead
make
Redemption
all of
2?
this accessible
Yeah.
to all levels.
It's gorgeous.
And then the rewards you get just scale depending on
The-
level. So if you
They'll
haven't
probably
finished
end
and
up
you want to
doing
come back to
if they
the game
keep
and play it,
supporting the game. It'll
Alright.
probably like
Enough
it could
talking.
get its it could be ready to go
Well, we didn't need that anyway.
in
I was trying to do this. See the chat.
yes.
For
Okay,
those
so
who
this
haven't
is a
seen
part
it,
of the new
yeah.
update. The is that we'll probably see them month over month eventually, and then
when
instead
you
of one, I
leave
wish
the
they had one
safe
big
bubble,
patch.
The first thing you notice is there is a crazy storm because you're in this cataclysm.
Okay,
You know, you can see
like
the
the
waves, you can see trees
blue,
blowing over,
like the font,
but
like,
also at the
whatever
top
the-
you'll see a
everything
UI
has a
that
blue
is
tint.
shrinking, and so basically that is your resistance to the cataclysm itself. And once that bar goes to 0, you'll take a bunch of damage and eventually be downed.
Oh, the enemy disappeared.
So one of the tricks to the cataclysm is managing that bar. One thing you'll notice is Jesse is getting.
I don't have a great loadout here. That's why we turned on God mode.
So one of the things, and we're not going to solve all these arenas.
Where
so
is
there's a
that
bunch of
UI
arenas
that they're talking about? They fixed their volume. They lowered it.
The goal is to start with an amount.
Turn them
and
back
then
up.
Over the 6 weeks, we'll kind of increase the arenas, so it changes up the meta of.
Destiny does have
the
great
routes
gunplay.
people are taking and the ways people are trying to score, but if you can shoot the thing in the middle above, this
Control
will create a
rods
safe zone.
stabilized.
So, just as a general mechanic,
Oh.
so now we're safe from the storm, and you can see the yellow bar falling back up.
Okay.
So one of the strategies here is if you find one of these activities to do. Or one of these
Okay, so
arenas,
then
you need to
that's
create
okay.
a
That's
safe
cool.
zone.
Actually,
Like
I
in that
really like
situation,
that.
Jesse would be
You go
down,
and you make new
he'd
safe
actually
zones.
respawn and kind of start again.
And that's going to prevent you from obviously just
So there are a
kind of
bunch
like
of
flying
mechanics.
out. I was like,
the
how
arenas
like
have
if it's
different
just draining,
criteria for completing them.
how do you
So,
continue
in this one,
your
you
time?
Can see on the right hand side in the kind of tracking area, we have to stabilize 7 rods.
Stabilize.
Some of
Oh,
you
that's
may
actually
have
a pretty
played
big
other parts of
field.
the
Like
game where there's a
it's
similar thing
encompassing this
so
whole
you get a bit of a
structure.
leg up. And so there are a bunch of different arenas that you need to go through. So Jesse has created a bit of a safe zone for himself.
Yeah, I kind of
but
been
as
missing
turns
Destiny.
out, he ends up back. In
But I'm at the
Yeah, it
the
is
point
on
like if
timer,
they're just
so
going to
you have to
reset it
do
all
that.
again, then I'm just going to wait and
do that.
restart when they
Back.
reset
So
everybody.
we won't go
Oh,
solve that.
okay.
Let's go fly somewhere else.
That was
Uh,
cool.
Oh, should we show the
And-
map real quick too?
That'd be helpful.
Yeah.
All right.
Show the map.
Wrong
So
button.
there is a map inside of the Cataclysm, which kind of
Oh,
shows
that's
you where
such a
the
better
arenas
map.
are at.
That's
So
such
you
a
can
better
see
map.
This space is actually really
That's a huge.
so we
Space,
think
holy
there's a lot of cool
shoot.
stuff for people to explore and discover. And again, we
Start.
call out the arenas, and not all of them are available at the start, right? So
Okay.
we'll extend that over.
But the
course
fact that
of
you can
the
see
Cataclysm.
the locations, can we
You
get a
can see
mini
kind
map
of the
for the
lots and
freaking
whatever.
please for the 10 millionth time? Because
But there are lots
I don't
of
want to have to
secrets in
keep
this
pulling
race,
up
so I
this
think
map
as
over and
people
over
explore
again.
more, they'll find different ways to earn
Show me
points.
you getting some loot and show me what the loot is when you
It's
get
hard
it.
to describe some of this without getting
Do
super
it,
in the
Ben.
weeds, and it's your first
Now,
time
do
seeing
it, make it
but,
happen.
There are some interesting things
Oh,
like
okay,
you
that's
earn
over
extra
there. Do
points
you
when you're in
know?
the storm. And so
See the
while you
notifications.
disable something for the arena,
Yeah,
to solve that
waypoints.
thing. When you solve the arena,
I like
you
that
earn
the
more time. So
score
you
is
can see
20.
the timer in the top right.
You can
is
go
counting
here.
down. Your ultimate objective is to defeat Vara. So we could fly straight to Vara now, who's the leader of the Dominion forces we talked about. We would just score a pretty small score. But if we complete arenas, we add more time to that, so we can spend more time in here earning more
Well,
points. And
I don't
getting
like
more
time
points.
remaining if it can be
So again,
extended.
if you fly out into the storm,
Because it's like
you
if-
get
if
a
you can
2x
go beat this,
multiplier.
you just go
complete
fly and
certain
beat
things
Vera,
to up the multiplier as
then
well. So I think,
you know, if you got plenty
and
of
we've been
time and it's like
iterating
all of a sudden you have like
this,
10
and
minutes,
that's
you're
part
like,
of
oh,
why
okay.
We want the feedback from our PTS
We
environment.
absolutely need a raid in this
But I
game.
think
And
arenas
also the
increase
fact that it's
multiplier
4-man, like
as well
give
as
us some
add
8-man
time
content.
for right now.
I mean, I
We
want a
can
lot
tweak
of
that.
things for this game.
There are things to discover all around. Some are underwater, some are in different places. that
Okay,
help
so
you extend
he's-
time and give you bonuses.
Yeah, his
So,
yellow bar is gone, so that's why his.
kind of
Yeah,
the-
so
the
basically, you would
high-level
die.
Summary of the arena. We really love the look of this. I think our artist did a polished.
Yeah,
polish
your artist
last
did a really
week,
good
and they're not
job,
quite
Ben.
finished, but I think it looks really cool so far. Especially the storm effects, which aren't turning up so great right now, but you can see the trees being blown over and stuff like that. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of information. Let me see if there are some questions, because I feel like I just said a bunch of stuff for 10 minutes.
Said a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff.
Can we talk about level design? I'd love to talk about level design. I think we
no,
should
no,
spend
no.
a lot of time
Can
right
we
now
not?
about level design.
Community knows I love talking about level design.
How long is the PTS for? We'll talk about that at the end, but probably a couple of weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, and then we'll kind of assess the feedback and go from there. But we do want to try to get this out quickly and not spend a lot of time with feedback.
Destiny Nightfall
Sorry, on
PTSD.
PTS, but we want to balance
What's up, Fear
that
the Beard?
with getting feedback and making sure we have this tuned and balanced.
Yeah, like, and I've been
in
actually
a way
when
that,
I was playing with my
is
buds,
reflective
I
of
actually switched
the
over to the Colossus
Talk
because that was
about
really
loot
cool.
Fools. Okay. Maybe we could rephrase
Talk about-
the question to be slightly more respectful, but
Talk about loot
like I said at the
fools.
very start, we're going to talk about what the rewards are and loot and a bunch of things once we get through explaining the Cataclysm, because hopefully then that makes sense. So we'll do that.
They better do not disconnect. He's getting wrecked pretty daggum fast.
I really need to know about level design. Okay.
Can you talk about I don't know
People asking
progression?
some questions about matchmaking from the patch today. So we're seeing all that feedback. We're talking about it. When there's something to
Progression
announce
and
about that,
what
we will do so probably via Jesse. So
Yep. Yeah, I've been talking to different people on the team. They're aware of some of some have been having problems with the time it takes to matchmake. As I shared and put up on.
There we go. All
over
right,
on
there's
Answer
my
Those Keyword
question. We'll see if it
Forums
gets answered.
That, we made some changes. But the time is supposed to be a max of 3 minutes, but some people are running into longer.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's what we're investigating. What's could be happening there.
A bug was introduced with the latest patch.
Can you
What?
make that screen come back up?
Oh yes, I can.
It
All right.
has our talking points on it. So chat is saying a lot about loot. So why don't we go ahead and start talking about
Yes.
rewards?
What? Good.
I will sit here
So-
one sec.
Okay, so
There My bad.
there is. You're all good. We
Yeah.
have a bunch of new rewards.
Yeah, I love
coming,
speakers.
with the Cataclysm itself. So again, the pre-events for 2 weeks. We have a lot of really cool challenges to do that reward a lot of cool vanity. And so
That's good.
That's
Vanity's a
kind of the reward
good thing.
mechanism for that 2 weeks. And then the Cataclysm itself, we're adding some things. So we're adding some brand new weapon types. And so
I like this
we'll talk more
equipable
about
slot.
that later. They're not available at the start of the Cataclysm, so a bunch of the rewards will unlock as you progress through the Cataclysm. So the weapons are kind of the big, cool new thing that will be available towards the end, and so we'll share more details on
Show
them
us
as we get there.
When you get the thing,
we're
what you
adding
got.
Masterwork and Legendary
Because you
support
can
gear.
equip it now.
Finally.
Open
yeah.
a chest.
Instead of
Purple,
having
purple,
that
purple,
slot.
blue.
Yeah, just the one
Purple,
slot.
purple, purple, blue.
So we're adding that in this patch.
Oh, thanks for the
Um,
11 thumbs up
we
on
are
an
going
Anthem
to
stream.
add new
people are
melee
like,
slots.
Anthem sucks.
So,
It's like,
and
all
just
right,
to be
yeah, it
clear,
does.
These are variants of the existing melee.
doesn't have
things.
to.
We're not adding axes or hammers or whatever. But I think it's really
Yeah,
cool.
I know.
Like, say for the ranger, you have the shock mace.
Hey,
right
what's
now,
up, Trey?
which is a primer. We'll add a variant for the ranger that could be a detonator, and so you can earn
Okay.
masterwork and legendary melee slots as well.
That's
so
awesome.
It's another cool thing to equip your javelin with that you can chase after.
Thanks, Colton.
As well as
It
it'll be
means a
interesting
lot.
to see how that affects some of the meta or what builds do people make. Now that I think we're doing it so every suit can have a primer or a detonator.
I reminded somebody
as
to
a
hit the
melee
thumbs
slot.
down.
It's pretty cool. Oh, I talked about
I love
support
you,
gear
all
first.
of
Oh
you.
yeah, so we're
Thumbs
adding
up or
some new
down.
masterwork gear. I skipped that. So some variants of
Hey,
existing
support gear,
pieces. We're
finally.
adding new masterwork and legendary versions of them. So there'll be
Finally,
some cool
finally.
gear to chase again to mix up the build.
Nobody
to kind
plays
of
this game
hopefully
anymore,
change the
kid.
meta
Like, if
of
you
what
go
people
look at
are
like
playing.
Twitch or whatever, it's like today they
And
might be a little
then,
high.
The last
But I think
bit,
people
so
are
all of
interested.
that
Like
new
they
stuff we're
want
adding
it to
will
recover.
be at a
Like it would be a
higher
great thing.
power
I
level
think
than
if
the
they were
current
able to
stuff.
like
so it's by
remedy
it's a 5
the
level
issues with the
offset
game.
for now. But that's actually one of the things we want some feedback on PTS from is like with what feels good, what feels right to honor previous work that people have done.
It will go
existing
free to
gear and
play,
things
but
like
I would
that.
I would venture to bet that's going to be this
that makes
this fall
Masterworks
if they can't
66, I
make
guess,
it
and
worthwhile.
Legendary 76.
Yep.
Hopefully my math +5 is okay. So that's the new loot coming with the Cataclysm. Now, the mechanism for this is probably something that we should cover a different time. I'll talk about it and explain it, but it won't be in the first PTS build. So the first PTS build, we want the feedback to be around gameplay, the gameplay experience, the Cataclysm scoring, how you do things, and then we'll patch in the new
there's no
so
investment.
That you guys can get some access to that and give feedback on those things specifically, and then how that affects the gameplay and stuff like that, just so we can kind of separate those things a bit.
Yep.
But the idea is the Cataclysm.
I think they
is,
can if they get the right
event,
leadership,
like said,
and stop tripping on their own feet
by participating.
Like, so they ask, do you think Bioware can pull an Anthem Reborn?
Itself,
it's a leader. Like the problems with Anthem
the daily, weekly
aren't the loot,
for the
aren't
game
the
in
bugs,
general,
aren't anything. It's leadership.
And then
100% a leadership issue. When you got people going into meetings and leaving and not knowing what to do, that's a problem.
And so they'll come in the form of
we'll see if they can do it now with the
and I think once we have that
with the games being released
before we patch that into PTS, we'll probably do another stream or we'll do something and we can kind of explain how that works. But the core concept is you play the game, participate in the event, earn a bunch of currency, and then you spend that currency.
Man. Like the hate and the hate and the rage that they get, I think, is earned. It's up to them not to tell us, but to show us.
So, for example, at the beginning of the
how
event,
they plan to improve.
Be like the new melee items will be the thing that you can, the things you can purchase.
I bet they are scared.
The event vendor.
Yep.
So that.
But at the same time,
works.
like as an engineer, like I'm rooting for them because like they're going through hell, and hopefully they do it.
That we've made some other. Another change to loot overall. So
amen,
we
Amanda.
decided to remove luck from the game.
I'll vote for
luck was a bit of a tricky stat that wasn't well understood. It kind of caused a bunch of confusion.
Casey Hudson's back.
So what we did is,
he came back
basically taken it away and rolled in as if you had
within
full
the
luck
like
to the base
6 months or
10, of every
12 months or
so
something. Like it wasn't a long time.
You played with full luck before. That's what it's like at a base level now. So the result of that is that there'll be much more loot dropping.
Playing with full luck is the base now.
If you're playing GM3, you should see more loot dropping in GM3 than you saw before because you inherently have full luck. For the people that had luck builds, we're replacing luck with armor.
That's right.
So you get a bunch of armor.
So luck is just going to be
I think it's a good change. Luck ended up not being a great stat.
So they got rid of luck.
Really like it. And
I liked it. I liked luck if you were able to just like. It's not a part of your gear. It's a part of your pilot. You can just
tweaks that
earn it, and it doesn't. It's not anything equipped.
We're doing a little bit of rebalancing.
You can just keep adding and adding and adding to it.
Part of that. So. There were a handful of gear and weapons that became by far the best things to use, and so we're trying to tone them down a bit, buff up some of the other things, and that weren't as good to use or weren't part of the meta, and then rebalance some of the health and damage of
visually. This is really cool looking.
GM3. So that's one thing we'd love feedback on from PTS. I don't know if it's in this build. We can double check that and make sure you communicate that out, Jesse.
Yep.
But getting that feedback would be good as well. Some extra changes. So again, there should be more loot in general because we've made luck part of everything. And then there's all the new stuff that we talked about coming with the Cataclysm at the 5 item levels higher. One thing.
Oh, Vera.
That's fine. You gonna say something?
Oh, I was gonna say, here's Vara. We won't go say hi to her, but
somebody's stuck in the ground.
Off in the distance.
Yeah. So one thing to talk about. This is pretty early. So like the VAR we put on PTS looks pretty awesome, but doesn't really function that well. A lot of her mechanics are kind of not finished. So some work and some don't.
I think so. I think it makes sense that they would give us that.
On
making new ultimate
Cataclysm, working out scoring, how to earn points, all that kind of stuff. We thought.
Agreed, Will.
We didn't want to wait for Vara.
Will says there's more content in the 14 demo.
We can get the feedback on Vara
than in the current game of Anthem.
Getting some texts, which normally means I did something.
Oh no, Ben! What did you do this time?
Oh.
Or are they yelling at me? Don't show that.
Good question. So, I missed some important features. Which, to be fair, I remembered. I just hadn't got there yet.
Oh, it's fine.
Because chat want to talk about loot, so I like to honor the chat. But thank you, Christian, for the text. I appreciate that.
Please talk about XP having some kind of value.
He texted me and said, "You missed an important question in chat, Ben." The question was in chat: is there some kind of ladder you can compare your score onto others?
Okay, leaderboards.
Great question. Yes, there is. So we're going to have leaderboards. The idea is that you can kind of compete on the leaderboards to, compete with your friends or your guildmates or compete against the world.
Guildmates,
to kind of be part of a team or squad.
Does that mean guilds are finally coming?
That can earn the highest score in Anthem. So that'll be cool.
Those tubes are cool. I like that. I like some of how everything kind of comes together in this world.
We might have a early version in the first build, but I think it's coming in the second build, the second week rather.
I'm about to run out of time.
I think I'm surprised they're at 9K average players per day. If you're looking at like Twitch, like they're like in they've been in like
out, so now we end
15 viewers, watching Anthem.
Now we end.
There we go. Hey, good timing.
Like, please work. And so you can see we scored. I mean, there's a lot of placeholder stuff here because it's not finished. But you can see on the right we scored 13.
So there's some form of currency that looks like it's coming out of the Cataclysm. This seems interesting.
Your score is doubled.
Oh, and lore on the load screens. I think that was just in the latest patch.
But leaving enough time for you to and defeat Vara.
More loading screens.
Because then you double everything that you have. And if you push it too close and you don't defeat her, you're going to miss out on a huge score, right? Because you don't.
Oh yeah, I really just played PvP in Destiny.
There's another thing we didn't talk about yet, which was inversions.
Yeah, what is that?
So inversions are a way that we change how you play the game. Mm-hmm. So, for example, the Cataclysm will have inversions that change every week. An example.
Yeah, they said that you can you'll have different melee weapons that you can equip.
400%.
So like for the ranger, you would either have like your primer with your mace, but they'll give you one so that you can equip a detonator, so that you can kind of play around with your build that way.
So what we'll do is each week rotate the inversions that are on the Cataclysm to see how the community reacts to using them to their advantage to get a higher score.
Okay.
So, for example, the first week we might do half gear cooldowns and 400% ultimates. So it's all about spamming ability and ultimates. And that's kind of then players might say, well, if that's the case, we want to kill as many things as we can for points. Mm-hmm. Other weeks it might be like manipulating the modifiers or having specific weapons or whatever. So that'll be an extra layer on top of this.
That's
and
cool.
Again, what we hope, and we want feedback from all kinds of players, what we hope is that this is accessible to people who just want to come and have fun. But if you really want to,
the PvP in 14 is good. They just have to figure out the rewards,
the damage from the storm, the score multipliers, the arenas, the different routes you can take, the inversions, the new gear and equipment, and the hidden challenges. That there's a lot of different things to kind of.
That's a lot of content. Like if you think about it, it still doesn't address my biggest concern from a grinding perspective. So, why should I grind in this game?
What did we talk about? Cataclysm is an 8-week event. Mm-hmm.
What happens after
events that have lots of challenges that give out vanity as rewards into the 6-week Cataclysm event. Where there are 3 brand new Crypt Path missions with some cool new cinematics and a really interesting story. Then we go into the Cataclysm itself is available, which is a brand new area. It has a stability meter that you take damage from being in the storm.
He said guilds.
There are leaderboards where you can compare your score against others. You earn points.
Yeah, it needs a progression system. Hands down a progression system.
There are a bunch of arenas that will expand over the course of the event.
I don't think Anthem is doomed. I think Anthem is dead. So the only thing that they can really do is try to nurse it back to life.
To earn more time and to earn more multipliers. We have the inversions that will change how you play. So each week we can offer players different challenges and different ways to play the game. We have a bunch of new rewards coming in when the Cataclysm goes live. So we have some brand new weapons that we'll talk about a bit later. We have new Masterwork gear variants we'll talk a bit about later. We have the melee slots, so you can have primers or detonators, and they have different elemental damages associated to them. We're going to increase, for the new stuff we add, will be 5 item levels higher for the respective Masterwork Legendary versions of it. And you earn those rewards by participating in the event, earning currency,
I'm in slow mode.
Going to the event vendor, spending currency, and the things that you have access to will change each week of the event.
Yeah, I know. It's like, and was amazing, and it's completely gone.
And given a baseline, so more loot should drop.
But honestly, like what they're showing, and if they're talking about a public test realm for next week, and they're still finishing it, like this might not go live until July.
I think that's as high a level short summary as we can give of the Cataclysm.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk about our PTS plans and how people who are interested in helping give feedback on this can come and check it out?
Yes, please.
For sure. So we talked a little bit at the beginning, but PC only for right now. And the way to get access is it's actually anyone who owns Anthem on PC or has Origin Access Premier, you will get it automatically once we turn the PTS on. So it will be its own separate client. So make sure you have the hard drive space.
Oh,
you have to download
that's
the game
so true.
Separately, it'll say like PTS up in the corner, and that's how we'll have it. I think also there will be certain times where we have it, right? Like it's not up 24/7. I think that's one thing I forgot to mention.
Yeah, it's a good call. So because we would like people to get together and group up, we'll probably have some designated days.
Yeah.
We might end up with designated time windows, but I think the first time we do it, we'll probably have, it'll be up for a couple of days, then we'll take it down, just again to try to get people together playing as a group, because getting the feedback about group play is, definitely
that's going to be hard to coordinate as
well. We can announce the details of all that.
Yeah, we'll have all the details.
Working Joe.
So once we have the PTS out there, we'll have a full post that details all this again of how you get it.
They said they're adding a lot of new loot.
Also, we're going to be
new guns, new weapons,
like
new slots.
We're going to be updating it regularly. So
yeah, the Michael's 100% right. I think it's
PTS comes out a week later. We have another update to it. We'll post those notes, almost like patch notes of here are the new things, so you can know what's changed between the builds. If we have any known issues where something is like you said, Vara's abilities aren't working, we'll let you know that, so that you're not having to say like, oh, there's a bug. Oh, we know.
And we're also, I think we're going to have surveys available as well. So we have a UXR team here who can roll up all the feedback.
Surveys, I think, would be important,
and provide reports for us with summaries and themes and things like that. So if you guys, if you all are happy to participate in that, like that's super helpful for us, because it can get all the stuff collated in a way that's easy to digest, so we can.
The Origin Access was a good deal in that case.
And there will be so Answers HQ is where we're going to post all of this information. So you've seen, like, I just posted the update, kind of saying this stream was happening. So over there on Answers HQ, we'll share it again through the Anthem Game Twitter handle. Pointing to it once it's live, so you can know where to get all the information, where you can go if you want to provide feedback. All those sorts of things, and like I said, it's going to be updated regularly, and we're going to be, like, I'll be in there, talking with players.
Yep.
And
you sure will.
That's your job, Jesse.
Anything else on PTS? I mean, that's pretty much
just
make sure there's nobody else.
Really, this is all about
progression,
progression, get feedback so that we can make changes before it goes live, and so. It's our first time, we'll probably need to improve how we do this in the future, and there's probably some things that we can do
Let me
better,
just say, it's going to be probably pretty rough.
From it, get the feedback,
and we're going to learn from this.
Keep doing this as we do bigger content updates in the future.
Yep,
yeah, my nightmare right now is that they sit here and say,
so we'll.
And Cataclysm goes live on June 28th.
And
well, guess
also
what?
I've seen people asking about EA
I'm
Play,
not playing.
so we are going to be there. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you're going to be there. I'm going to be there.
EA Play for us this year is more about.
Yeah, I can't do Division 2 around the kids.
The Cataclysm and PTS. And
maybe now that we're done, moving, I might be able to kind of look at my game lineup. But with Shadowbringers,
group of people
just right around the corner, it wouldn't be until later this summer that I jump in like Division 2 or something like that. But then at that same time, Borderlands 3 is right there as well, and I've already got that. I'm not playing Borderlands 3 with my kids, but being that it's not a persistent online game, it doesn't necessarily feel like I'm losing out on progression.
Off the street, the public to come and play Anthem, both the base game if they haven't played it before, but also check out PTS if they're a veteran player, so people can come and do that, and we'll have a couple devs there, answering questions for those people as well.
Yeah.
And then we're going to do a short stream from there. It'll just be 5 minutes, kind of recapping some of the things we've talked about here. It's a bit of a broader audience, so it'll be a higher level view than this, but yeah, we're really just excited to get out there and talk to players, talk about PTS, talk about the Cataclysm, talk about what we have going on, and just get feedback and keep working on the game and keep making the game better.
Yeah, and we will have with the Game Changers different things like podcasts, videos, interviews with
that's right.
with the two of us, other members. So if you remember Chris Schmidt, who was on a stream a while ago, everybody loves Chris. and yeah, I forget all who's going, but we have a lot of different.
There's a bunch of us going.
So we'll have, I think, some pretty interesting podcasts kind of covering different topics of where they can speak to their specialty. So we'll share all that information too, so you can know where to go get a little more of the
in the
details.
office here.
Yep. But
otherwise, once again,
but I like to play with the family. Like it's like
time
I play.
Yeah, we are right there with Julie. But thank you
PS4
everyone for joining in.
I'm hoping it comes out to Xbox.
Do another live stream probably after EA Play once the PTS is up and we've got more updates. We can talk more about the different weapons and things like that.
Or I'll just get a new gaming PC and I'll give her mine.
Yeah, stay tuned to when PTS is ready, and we look forward to hearing from you all.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you all for tuning in.
All right.
Take care.
Have a good day. Take care, guys. Bye.
Ultimately, let's see here. Do I just have a straight up cam screen? Boom. Let's see here. Yeah, there we go. Ultimately, they have a lot of work cut out for them. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. They have a lot of work cut out for them. What they showed off was promising, but it doesn't address a core issue that the game has had since you hit level cap, and it's what do I do at level 30? Why do I play the game? There's fun to be had. Like honestly, what I'm looking at in this case, what I'm looking for right here with whatever Cataclysm ends up being, is Anthem, has it hit its lowest point possible, and thus it can only rebuild and get better from here, because it's not like I'm out any money at this case, because I've already spent a lot of time in it. I like that it's bringing in weapon slots, like melee weapons, and then finally getting masterwork and legendaries as a part of the system itself. That's important. I like that we're seeing, the Cataclysm looks really interesting. I like that there's a score. I like that leaderboards. I like that he mentioned guilds, even though they didn't talk about it specifically, because I think that, obviously with the dwindling community that is around the game, it needs help. Obviously, the loot is the issue. I don't think they touched on it well enough in this video, in this live stream, to give me confidence. I love that they're doing a public test realm, because I think that's the right way forward. But I don't like that it doesn't feel like random, even though they're removing luck, or basically setting everybody to full luck. What's the point? Like, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to go into the public test realm, which apparently launches next week, and we'll go from there. All right. What's up, Fresh Lemon? I says, I listened to your QA video earlier, and I agree, and I would like a private DPS meter type. That's one of the reasons why Julie stopped playing. Like, before the PS4 died, and obviously we got real busy with having a third baby, and then having all the different housing problems we had. If y'all are new and didn't see it, like our house foundation dropped 6 inches on one side. That cost me $35,000. I'm not joking. It was a very hard year, because I couldn't do it all at once, so I had to do it in phases. And so so then PS4 broke, and we're like, whatever. But she was really stressed out, because she was always like, how am I doing? So she'd have me running the parser. So Julie would always have me run ACT, so I literally can see how I'm doing, because she doesn't want to drag the group down. And so she's like, if I could do better, then I want to do better, because it's like gear on gear. Like, did I get out DPS by another bard? Yes or no? And oftentimes she did right on par with the other bards. But one time, she really was like, babe, I don't know what it was, but you were here, and they were just crushing it for some reason. And so, yeah, that drives her to help her go motivate to figure out what the heck she needs to do and do right as it relates to all that. Let's see here. Yeah, it's a dying. IQ back says it's a dying ship. Yeah, I think the ship is sunk. I think it's down in the depths, and it's surrounded by sharks. And then the sharks are the Anthem community, just hungry for blood. Like, if anybody dares to think or say anything remotely positive about the game, it's like, let's destroy that person. They must enter into our misery. Dylan Robbins says, when is it going to come out? So they said the public test realm is going to be next week. They did not give any hints as to when, but based off of what I think they showed us, I'm going to bet July. Now, if they come out sooner, that's risky. They're not a company that's done really well at rushing out updates. That's one of the problems we saw with the PS4, and why it's had and struggled so much, and why it was it didn't. They say they didn't find any technical PS4 that was brick, but that doesn't matter. That impression is going to be around for the next 10 years, just like 1.0. Even still to this day, even with Shadowbringers, people are like, oh, well, didn't Final Fantasy 14 fail? It's like, yeah, it did. Prone says, hi, I just have a question to everyone. When is Lost Ark coming out to EU? Oh, Lost Ark, come out, baby. We don't have an ETA on Lost Ark either. I am going to put together a guide on how you guys can get it installed if you want to play it now. Be like me, and and yeah, they could always cancel my account, but we'll have to wait and see. But man, Lost Ark, I hope it's this year. I think Lost Ark coming out this year, this fall, would be really, really smooth. Cole says 35K JFK. That is more than I make in a year. Yeah, dude, it was expensive. We put a lien on the car because we had our car paid off, so I had to borrow some of the money. I don't like to borrow money. Julie and I did the Dave Ramsey thing and paid off like all of our student loans and all our debt, and so then we got out of debt, and then that happened. And then I had to borrow money, and I was like, So we fixed the foundation for $20,000. So I could only borrow 12. We had our savings, so I had to use the rest of that, and that fixed the foundation and solved the emergency, and then we redid the floors. And so we actually just moved, and we actually got a contract on the house. Like, we got it fixed up. Like, I went and had them do steel to bedrock. Like, I was like, this house ain't. This is like in the, if anybody knows DFW in the Carrollton area, like it's Carrollton the Colony. Like the foundation, it's like you're either about to have your foundation repaired or you've already just had your foundation repaired. So it hit me. It hit hard because that was a lot of money. Like, I don't. If that's more than you make in a year, like that was painful, man. I took on a lot of contracts. Like, for those of you who are new to the channel, I took on a lot of. I'm a software engineer, so I took on a lot of extra work. Just worked around the clock. Yeah, Chris was like doing. You saw Chris all the time during this period because I was like, I'd come in for a video, be like, "Hey guys, how's it going? All right, something Final Fantasy. I love it. I love you guys. All right, I'll see you later. Code. Oh my gosh. Let's see here. DPS meter is important for personal improvement. Yeah, it is. DPS meter is important for personal improvement. And if it's private, like I want the Black Ops thing. Like at the end of Black Ops, it literally shows your stats. Like it's like and how you did time over time. So imagine running the content over and over again and being able to kind of see like, did I get better? Or did I get worse? Like did my DPS go up? Did it go down? Like and then what it like maybe giving some kind of points or some tips. Will Woof says 14 came out on Xbox. I would lose it. I would lose it too, dude. I would I'm glad that they. There's kind of a part of me that is happy they didn't announce it at any of the fan fest while I'm covering it live because I would have just cried. I honestly would have cried, because that would be freaking incredible. Rachel Silver says I thought the Cataclysm looks pretty interesting. Yeah, like visually it looks really cool. Content wise, it's cool. Score is cool. It's got some kind of currency reward. Cool. Like it's doing a lot of things that are cool. The question is it going to feel good? Is it going to be not just fun, but is it going to be something where you want to log in? And then what the heck happens after it? Like after this Cataclysm is done, like do we wait another 3 months and then now the Cataclysm, like is a Cataclysm event like aspirational content once a quarter? I mean, and that's okay if it is, but you got to have something to replace it. You got to have something that comes in and goes. See here, Anthem, you mean? Yeah. Let's see here. Let's see, Fresh Lemon, Lost Ark coming in to NA and EU. Yes, at some point. Well, then Hazard says, why are they not putting the game? Why are they not putting this game on permanently? I don't understand, Hazard. Damn. Will says, life is the hardest of raids. Yes, we actually had insurance, Will, and they denied our claim. So I had foundation insurance and they denied it, and we tried, and that's just where that went. They were like, oh, it's because of whatever, and it's like, no. The what fresh is hard at work. How does insurance not cover stuff like that? You'd be so mad. I was really mad. There's a lot of swear words that I said. Do you have a work email as a software engineer? I do have a work email as a software engineer. Let's see here. Andrew says, I heard if you get ACT, you can perm ban on 14, even if you aren't talking about it. I haven't heard that, Andrew. You can't talk about it in game, but yeah, like are they going to perm ban like any other raiders, any of the streamers? No, it's a kind of it's kind of this open secret in a way. Cole says, bless you. I'm glad you were able to handle it and rise above it. I am a software dev up here in Canada. Hey, all right, dude. Cool to know that you do that. Yeah, I love it. That's actually what I'm about to go back and do. I've got to wrap. I have a couple of sprints that are wrapping up this week. I do a code review here at 5 o'clock, so it's here in about an hour. Code review. Let's see here. Private DPS meter would honestly help me since I love playing Red Mage and Dancer comes out. I want to see me slowly progress. Yeah. Oh, it frustrates me. I mean, Julie would come back if they added it because it would help her make her feel a lot more comfortable with it. Ugly Boyd says, I use ACT. Why not use that to parse the DPS and not self-snitch? No, we do, but we haven't been able to. Like I said, there's a couple other factors, so it's like she's still deciding if she wants to come back for Shadowbringers or not. Let's see here. Rachel, I mean, they can't fix immediately. Stuff take time. From the development, that's one of the things that is like frustrating from my perspective, where I go on Reddit and people are like, oh, just like flip the switch and it's done. It's like, no. Like Anthem's roadmap is 6 to 9 months. I think in 6 to 9 months, if they keep really like running at it and refining it, like in 6 to 9 months, Anthem, it has an interesting foundation. It needs a lot of work. Like if you were in free play and that was where the missions kicked off, like one of the things that I found is like, there's so much loading. Like if I was just out in free play and I could go from one mission to the next, like you're just out there having a good old time and then you have to go back to town, like occasionally. Like I think that's ultimately what they wanted. I think that's where like you kind of see that groundwork being laid, but technically there were probably some hurdles there. So, I'm not advocating that anything they need to do in Anthem is going to be fixed in one patch. I've said it, and you can probably check if you haven't seen any of my videos about it. I say that it's like, guys, like, yeah, like it's Anthem isn't a patch that is fixed in with a miracle reborn kind of thing. It's their strategy looks like it's going to be 9 to 12 months of 1 month patches that slowly get us there. So Cody, what's up, dude? You feel like Anthem might pull a Destiny D2 after E3? The game's got better with additional content. If Anthem releases an Anthem 2, that would be ultimately very disappointing. If Anthem releases an expansion, that would be they have to make it free. Like they have their job is to make the game playable, make it fun and engaging. Which they have some parts of that, but they have to win back the trust of the gamer. I think if Bioware wants to release any other games as a service, that they want Dragon Age to have that kind of games as a service model, like they have to have Anthem has to be like in a really good shape. They have to say that even if we make a misstep, we'll make it right. Gamers need to believe in Bioware again, and they do not. And that's on Bioware. This isn't like, I'm not saying to anybody that they need to believe in Bioware. No, Bioware has to. They've spent all of their credit. Like Bioware has maxed out their credit card. There is and now the payments are due, and now they have to do the real hard work. And it's going to be harder to get out of debt than it was not to get into debt in the first place. In their case, different kind of analogy for the real world though, but still running with it. They're going to have to pay off the debt. Then they're going to have to build up their credit again. And I think only then can they decide, only then will we know what the fate of the company is. I think they have some solid IP, so I don't think it's in EA's best interest to mess with them right now. Because again, like what's in a name? It's the people who make the game. It's not the name itself. And the fact that, why am I'm drawing a blank on Todd Howard, not Todd Howard, that's Bethesda, the Casey Hudson, and the fact that Casey Hudson's back could be a huge improvement, a huge blessing. Sprints, agile dev for the win. Agile isn't a better strategy than or a worse strategy. It's just a strategy. I don't know if anybody in your world has done this, but I've had just CFOs and CEOs. They've used agile as some kind of marketing thing. Like agile doesn't make you more or less successful. It just makes you. It's just the plan going forward. And the problem is that we couldn't get a couple of our the executive team to understand agile, and they wouldn't go to training, and so they would just totally like throw a wrench into agile. We would be in the middle of a sprint and everything, like stop the sprint and all this crap, and it's so frustrating, so frustrating. Anyway, let me complain about dev life. So Will says, I like the 14 community. I'm not hardcore, but I just like exploring stuff, and everyone has been really helpful. That's good. 14's got a really strong community, and it's interesting, like when we look at 14 and Anthem, because when you look at the two games, they've kind of had similar kind of starts. 14 1.0, which now is starting to be forgotten, which is kind of a good thing, even though the ghost of it is still always going to be there and kind of impact the development of it. But like with 14, like Yoshi came in, and his goal was to rebuild trust in the game. People lost trust in Square Enix. And 15, I think, is better for Yoshi P. And 14, I think 16, when 16 comes out, I think ultimately that's going to be an interesting take, because 16 should be growing up in the new Square Enix and not essentially the old Square Enix. Well, they're still probably new and old, because the politics are always politics. William says, unless they pull an ARR, Anthem is gone forever. What would I'd be the question to you, William? What would their ARR look like? Would they, like, are we talking about shutting down the game and then coming back, like no updates for a year and then here it is? I honestly think that what would make sense is that right now they're working on quote unquote their ARR, but I think they're going to end up just doling it out over time. And the Cataclysm narratively could be something, but in this case, instead of destroying the world, it's a new zone. And again, if it's gone in 6 weeks, that just feels weird. It just feels weird. I wish I could find somebody to help me with Gilgamesh. What server are you on, Mr. Hallifield? Because you can always check out our Discord server if you need help with anything. We're on Aether, but we still have people who play on Crystal and Primal. Yeah, I'm a dev too, and it's just a scheme to get everyone on board. Yeah, it's just a way that you get everybody doing, working in the same cadence. We are, aren't we going to get a Final Fantasy VII Remake first? We can always hope, Will. We can always hope that we'll see a Final Fantasy VII Remake. I like the latest trailer. But I'm like, tell me when I can buy it. Tell me when it's downloaded on my system, I'll believe it. That's just the attitude that I'm taking. The live stream just finished, David. If you actually want to catch it, you can just hit the rewind on YouTube, but this archive will be up here in a minute. I do need to go and do other things. Does anybody have any other questions for me before I go? ARR was an insanely huge gamble. In fact, that's one of the things where frustrations, like for veteran players like myself, and this is what we talked to Yoshi P about in our interview, some of the frustrations and things that we would like in the game really aren't easy or possible in the long term, or in the short term, because there's so much work involved. They didn't know there was going to be a Heaven's Word. They didn't know there was going to be a Stormblood. And so that's where some of the code behind Heaven's Word, behind Stormblood, like, it's not retroactive. When we look at Shadowbringers and the fate changes, those aren't retroactive to the previous zones, because those things are stacking on top of one another. Some parts are, but like that takes a lot of work and a lot of time, and that's actually one of the biggest concerns I had with the game. I expressed that last year. A lot of people don't want to hear that and understand that, and I think there's, and I say it, there's two ways forward. At one point, they're either going to have to blow up the game, again, in a way, like new starting point, but like do something like drastic. I think that would be fascinating. Who knows what that is? Whether it's 6.0, 7.0, 8.0, they can do that if they choose to, if it's what they feel is right, or they're just going to come out with another online Final Fantasy game. And whether that's 17, I wouldn't think 16. 16 would be too early. If they're not working on 16 right now, that really is frustrating. That would be frustrating, because that means like from 15 to 16, it's a huge gap. But that then they just release kind of that next starting point, that next MMO from the ground up, and I think that's the project that Yoshi P has been working on in pre-production since 2016. But that we'll have to wait and see. There's no one no one way to slice that apple. Let's see here. Currently on Aether. Okay. Wait. See here. I was seeing if. Now that you'll probably never find a company willing to do that with a game, especially not EA. It was a unique situation with SC's Crown Jewel franchise. Yeah, Anthem being a new franchise doesn't bode well, because it's not something like Final Fantasy where they're like, we damaged the brand of Final Fantasy, and Final Fantasy is a huge brand. So that's one difference why why you might not see other companies do it. I like a lot of hate obviously on EA, and I think that's well earned. But I think the problems with Anthem have nothing to do with EA. like EA gave them like 6 years to make a game. And then they were like, you're done, push it. You know, like, no. Like, you're going to take this heat. So Andrew says, are you planning to race change to Vieira or the male race, Ronso, when Shadowbringers hits? Abso-freaking-lutely, I'm going Ronso. We made my character live on stream, which was fun as a part of the benchmark. Will says, yeah, oh my gosh, Yoshi said that he got everyone to write down what they had most confidence in doing best, and he just had them focusing on those things and got the job done. He also used a kind of a blending of Agile as well. Bioware won't even remaster Mass Effect. If they did with Anthem what they did with SC, and I'd move to Alaska. Yeah, Bioware definitely dropped the ball. I think, yeah, if anything else, Bioware dropped the ball. And it's, like I said, with the analogy, it's up to them to re-earn the credit. They have a lot of work cut out for them. And the developer and me, and this is where a lot of people get pissed, and I get it, and I understand, and I think they're right to be mad. They take it out on me sometimes, and that's okay. Because that's, you know, I mean, I'm the guy at the other end of the camera talking about it. Like, as the developer and me cannot root against these guys. I cannot root for anybody to fail. I know how hard development is. I know all the BS that you have to deal with. And game making is not an easy task. And BioWare's problem has been 100% leadership. Like, they did not have a clear vision of what this game needed to be, and so they wasted a lot of time. And if they didn't waste that time, if you ever heard the story of Clydesdales, like two Clydesdales working together, they've never worked together before. They can move a lot. They can move like more weight than just one of them, like together. It's like they can. So it's instead of like one Clydesdale can move 1,000, two Clydesdales can move 3,000 pounds. But two Clydesdales that have worked together for a very long time, trust each other, and know what direction they're going, they can move like 5,000 pounds. I don't know the math on it, but there's a story about like how understanding and working together ends up being a huge benefit. That's not what happened at BioWare, right? So there's a lot of work that literally has to happen. And so again, the developer and me, I can't root against these guys. I won't root against these guys. I won't root for failure, and I never ever will. It, you know, like. I guess you could say, like, I guess if, like, Hitler rose out of the grave and he was trying to, like, murder everybody, I would root for him to fail. That's, I think, an extreme situation. But with this, like, with dev, with things that are supposed to bring joy to our world and to our lives and to hopefully bring us together as a community, like, BioWare united a lot of people against them. You know, it's like, that is one thing that did happen, but... yeah, I want the developers are working hard. They're people that, like, nobody wants to make crap. Nobody's like, I want to make a bad product. I want to make a bad game. Nobody is sitting here starting that out. I don't think it has anything to do with EA or BioWare. I think what will end up meaning if this game end up ultimately able to restore some faith is if the people making it right now are still passionate. If the people making this game right now still have a passion to make a good game, they still believe that Anthem can be a good game, you add time to that equation, and I think it will. But I can't measure that, you know. I think that can only be measured with time, and we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. You know. Anyway. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. I really appreciate it. I know Anthem is a hot topic. I know that if... saying anything positive about it brings a lot of hate, and I understand it. And for the people who are so mad and been burned by this game, I love you. I hope you have a better day, you know. I don't personally believe I'm the problem with the game industry, but you're welcome to your own opinion. You know, I'll let you make that decision. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. I love you all very much. I hope you have a better and more joyful day than you did yesterday. And I will talk to you soon. Take care.